Alright, hey guys, Matt here, back in my car doing another video. This has been a topic that I've wanted to do something regarding the protests and the issues that we're facing in our country right now. I just haven't figured out a good way to do it and say it, because I am a massive supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, but at the same time, it is hard for me to speak from my position of outright privilege. That I think there's better platforms to do it, so I don't want to put anything out there that would take away from that in their cause. They don't need me to speak for them on what we should do, why we should do it, and how we should feel. But something that I have gotten into, especially with discussions on social media and trying to help people justify their beliefs with what's happening, and showing people why this is not wrong, which I don't know why I even have to do, but here we are trying to have to tell people why these protests are not a wrong thing and why you shouldn't be disagreeing with them. But time and time again, I've seen it 4 or 5 times, so many times these Christians are saying things that we're not the ones to judge, we're not the ones who are the law bringers, the law givers, that's up to God. God is the one who will judge. And it's impossible for me to accept that as truth, because of my philosophies and the thought processes and logical exercises that I've done to get to my understanding of truth and how this line of reasoning has led us to where we are today. This line of pacifism is being used to justify complacency. It is not an actual pacifism, it is an inaction. It is an excuse for inaction. And I've heard the specific line a few times, so much so that I had to go and find what they were talking about, because I hadn't actually heard this, is that life is but a vapor, so we should just submit to God's will, and if God wills it, it will happen. And I think I might make this a series of debunking Christian reasoning using their own book, because it's really easy. Because a lot of times these words are taken completely out of context of the passage itself or what the actual meaning of the words are. And so I looked this up, and it comes from the letter of James, chapter 4, where it talks about the passage is saying the process of submitting to God, which follows with what the argument is. But it says, do not say you know what will happen today or tomorrow, because you are just a vapor. You are just a blip in time. You are here for a short time and then you're gone. You're here for a very brief amount of time, and so you should not presume to know the ultimate wisdom. Which is true. That is a very good lesson in humility, is we are only here on this earth for a very brief amount of time. And so we should not try to say that we know the absolute good, the absolute right, because we do not have all the information. We don't have the wisdom of being here for centuries and millennia and testing and learning for ourselves what is the right, what is the ultimate good, the ultimate wisdom. We can disagree on what that means, what the ultimate wisdom is, and who is the giver of it. But it is arrogant for us to presume that we know what's right. Now, how this is being used, from what I've seen, is we don't know what's right, so we should let other people decide what is right, what is good. We need to let other people decide what the law is. The problem with that is we've done that, and it's bad. Like, we can know that it's wrong. These people admit that it is wrong. The people I've talked to say it is not good. Police should not be hurting people. But in the next breath say, but I don't agree with how they're going about trying to get this change. And I think it's fascinating, especially because they use the "life is but a vapor" line, because at the end of that same paragraph, it says in the very end of that paragraph, the last sentence in that paragraph says, if anyone knows the good they ought to do and don't do it, it is a sin for them. What that is saying is, if you know something's wrong and you know what to do good, and you don't, that is evil. That is wrong. That is a sin. That complacency and inaction are evil. You cannot do good by doing nothing. You cannot know the right thing to do, not do it, and still think that you're a good person. If these Christians really understood what the Bible is saying, what their holy book says, in the same paragraph as what they're quoting to justify their inaction and their complacency, they would not do it. They would know, it's like, this is not right. We know what works to get change happen. That's what we're doing. That is what the protests are for. That's what Black Lives Matter's for. That is what all the people who are out protesting, that is what it's for. That is how you get change. You draw attention to it, especially in this country. People will not change just because they realize they're wrong. You have to draw attention to it. You get enough attention on it, you get enough people telling you that they believe it's wrong, that they believe it needs to change, in order to get it changed. If we know that that is how we get things done. Christians listening to this, if you think that police killing anyone, any unarmed person, is wrong, not necessarily killing them in broad daylight, which George Floyd was killed in broad daylight, not necessarily a black person by a white person, which this was. If you think that any unarmed, peaceful person who had not committed any crime that they were being detained for, if you think that that person should not be killed by police, then you agree that this needs to change. Here's some things that you can do. Protest. Go out in the street. They're happening in literally every state. If you can find one near you, go, lend your voice, be heard. If you can't go to protest, there are many nonprofit groups that are working to change these policies and this reality that you can donate to. If you can't donate your time, you can donate your money. You can spread good, real content on social media. You can call your congressperson. You can call your senator. You can call the White House and voice your opinion. Say, this needs to change. You need to get on board with changing. The reality is, we all need to do something. This has to change. It's not going to change without us. It's not going to change on its own. Colin Kaepernick knelt down years ago. This has been a massive issue for years. Very public eye for years. It has now come to a head. There is no going back. This will get changed, or it will end badly. People are no longer accepting the reality of their lives. It is something that we can all see without a doubt is wrong. We have to do whatever we can to change it. If you're using the Bible to justify your inaction or your complacency or your racism, you are wrong. You need to stop. You need to get on board with what is right and what is good, because we know what is right and what is good. We are only here for a very short time. Why should we make it so much harder for a large group of people in their very short time on this world? You're right. We are but a vapor. We are but a blip in the time scale of the world and the universe. Life already sucks. But that does not mean that we shouldn't make it easier for everybody else. I know this is a bit more of a somber topic, so I'm not going to come in with some cheery congratulations and thank you. But please, if you saw this video, you liked what you saw, like the video, subscribe to what I'm doing, leave a comment in the description, share it with a friend. Anything that you can do to help spread the word to get good done. Let's get to work. And I'll see you next time we come to